Hi, everyone. My name is Lily Mora. I'm a professional learning manager at Computer Science Teachers Association. This is the first webinar for the Winter 2022 Professional Learning Series, and the topic is on strategic recruitment for computer science courses. The material we are going to present today is based off of a micro-credential course that's offered by Digital Promise. And today we're going to work through the active and equitable recruitment strategies, which helps educators to effectively implement active recruitment strategies with an emphasis on attracting students from groups that have been traditionally underserved. So there are three types of themes that this course highlights. There's tapping into student interests, belonging, and identity. So we're going to start off with interests. We want to find ways that we can connect with students' personal interests and their life experiences. So there are 5 different ways that you can access that. One is by art and design. So consider using interactive art to aid the design process. Maybe with your students, you can have a project that would allow them to create these promotional interactive digital posters. Consider utilizing culture, pop culture, for example, whether it's using digital music mixing or smartphone apps to do this. You want to incorporate what students relate to, maybe even utilize some indigenous cultures like weaving and beadwork that can help students connect with computer science and their culture, and that it's something that they would explore in your class. STEM is another way to tap into student interest. A lot of parents like when you connect it to STEM, but even the idea that computing has led to breakthroughs such as genetics, even dealing with the COVID outbreak and tracking folks, and analyzing big data. Future careers is another way to tap into student interest. Many people think that computer science is boxed into a specific way of working, but it definitely does intersect with almost all industries, so that you can help students connect what they like to do with computer science so it can make that industry even better. So one of the big things is, because you're dealing with students and at different age groups, you want to make this a fun recruitment experience. Maybe that's something you want to have as, like, you want to demo how you can code even in unplugged ways, but you want to communicate your enthusiasm for coding and use fun examples of products that your students create, you maybe even utilizing games, emojis, photo filters, and digital storytelling. So when we are talking about belonging, we want to highlight community aspects of computing and how some people think that computer science is just a solitary kind of experience, but this is definitely not the case. Coding is done often in groups, and you want to be able to show students that role of collaboration and that social interaction that's required when they're doing projects, teamwork and hackathons, for example. We also want to highlight that this type of learning is project-based. And so it's not just this route, I teach you a skill, you do it, but then it's really so that we can we can identify some issues, and hopefully it's issues that impact them and that they relate to, because that's another way to have students have a sense of belonging, is to engage in issues that pertain to them. Like, for example, maybe data privacy, surveillance, and algorithmic bias could be ways that what they do can really make a positive impact on society. Identity is another recruitment theme, and we wanted to support students in developing their identities in your computing class. And so we want to undermine those stereotypes, counteract unhelpful narratives and perceptions, and really combat the gender, racial, all these other types of stereotypes, so that students can identify themselves as computer scientists. We also want to present role models, real life role models that, ideally they would be from underrepresented groups that maybe they connect with, that they identify with in the computer science and technology field. So consider also reaching out to local industry folks that fit those molds so that they can also support you in showing what the faces of computer scientists look like. And it's not just the white males in the field. Some activities that we suggest or that Digital Promise presents are finding ways to educate admin and staff. Consider even having them come into your classrooms to better understand for themselves what, face to face, what the experience looks like and feels like. Working with your counselor is really key, especially if some of them need some education on who computer science is best for, because some may be stuck on these perceptions of they're these only for students who are really good at math. But when the reality is, no, we want students who have all types of skills to help solve problems using computer science. We want to reach out to individual students or groups of students personally, whether you identify students who like this could be good for them, they might really enjoy it, or even attracting specific peer groups, maybe teams like a sports team or a club, and even finding ways where they can see how it connects with their interests for that club or that sport. So we want to involve parents, and you can do that easily. Well, you can do that by sending out mailers, brochures, and info emails, or maybe some in-person events like an open house or an informational night. You want to definitely include as much as you can students in this recruitment process. You want to use current students to recruit future students. But another tip is to see if there are any former students, maybe who have graduated already, who could come back and support you in that process of evangelizing of computer science and your programs to students and parents and community members. You definitely want to recruit from other classes. If you have a colleague that's willing to allow you to whether take a few minutes of their time to present or market your course to their students, or even maybe provide a video that they could show at the beginning of class. But even maybe that could also be a way to start a collaborative project where you can see how computer science and that specific discipline intersects, and find a way to solve a problem together using computer science and, say, for example, history or math or English. So organize an hour of code event is another activity that they suggest. You could definitely, this could be like a school-wide type of event, but the hour of code is part of Computer Science Education Week, which is something you might want to consider, is having, using that early December time where you highlight computer science course offerings and clubs and find ways to have people interact with it. And so that's something to definitely support the attraction of prospective students to your programs. So when you are considering all these strategies, you definitely want to examine what your current demographics of your school and also what you currently have and your enrollment, and identify what are the areas that you want to improve on to better diversity of your students. Second thing is you want to decide which themes you are most compelling for students and develop recruitment messaging based on those themes that you've identified. Third, you want to connect with other members of your school or district community who can help with recruitment. Definitely, ideally, you want to work as a team of advocates, because this is a challenge to do by yourself, but also make sure that team is also a diverse group of folks, hopefully current students, maybe former students, admin team, counselors, other colleagues to be a part of that, or maybe even industry folks that are local. Number 4, then you would want to implement your recruitment plan, and then you want to document your experiences so you can also figure out what worked or what could be improved. Oh, and then reflect on how you can improve your recruitment for the future. And then definitely look at your numbers and see was there any positive impact, or then decide maybe the next year you want to try something else and see how that might positively change your enrollment. And so we're hoping that these materials will be useful to you. There are additional resources that you can access via CSTA, some former workshops, webinars that were offered in former events that you might definitely want to take a look at, and also other resources that are there. So we want to thank you for tuning in and learning more about different ways that you can recruit students into your CS courses. Consider also attending a future upcoming CST event. We have our first Engage for this semester on the 20th of January. That's going to be hosted by CSA Sacramento and the Far North chapters on New Year, New Language. That'll be awesome. Later this month, we have our next PLS on celebrating Black excellence in CS, which is hosted by our Black Affinity group. And then at the in February, we have the virtual Winter Summit, which is themed CS across curriculum. And we are hoping that you yourself will attend and invite others from other disciplines, other grade levels, maybe some advocates in your area to be a part of the integration of computer science where you are and then in your region. So remember, this is the first of our PLS Winter 2022 series. We have 4 others coming up, and we hope that you'd attend them all. If not, check out these videos and work on some of that professional development. We're hoping you have a great start to the new year, and that we'll see you at a future event. Thank you.